This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Flood victims in Gabagaba village await government assistance. Several people severely injured during a car accident. And Bougainville launch anti-drug education and awareness campaign in central Bougainville. A very good evening. This is Sunday's News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. We begin with a story from Gabagaba village, and displaced families at Gabagaba village in the central province are still living in tents and makeshift shelters after their homes were washed away by floods almost a month ago. The only form of assistance that reached them was that of churches.
These are some of the remains of the houses destroyed by the floods. It has been almost 1 month now with no government assistance. Displaced families are currently living in makeshift shelters, hoping for some form of assistance to reach them soon. More than 5 family homes were completely washed to the open sea with all their belongings as well. Displaced families remain under tents. Some even sleep out in the open. We spoke to a village elder, a victim also, who lost all his belongings to the flood. It flooded on the 29th of May, on Monday. It was a very big flood. 2 houses were completely destroyed, of which one of those houses was mine. At 9 o'clock in the night, I woke my wife up and we fled to the beach. Nothing was left. Everything was washed away. The only thing that I had were the clothes that I wore. Since that day, this is where I have settled. And all emotional Mr. Daure added that this was his only home that was built almost 40 years ago. He said out of the 24 metal boxes that contained household items, only 6 were recovered after the floods. All other electrical appliances, including valuable personal items, were gone. At the moment, the Daure family are living in this empty mission house next to the village pastor's house, which is also barely standing. We were told churches, including Red Cross and the Gabagaba Besana Group, which is the village association, have assisted the displaced families with tents, bed sheets and clothing. Emtv News understands the Central Provincial Government is working with the National Disaster Centre to coordinate relief supplies and further assistance to those badly affected by the floods. But for now, how long will these displaced villagers wait for assistance is a question that needs an answer. Lindy Suharupa, National Emtv News.
5 people are now in critical condition at the Port Moresby General Hospital after a dreadful accident that occurred at the Waigani Tokarara bus stop today. According to eyewitnesses, the bus lost control and sped into vendors along the side of the road, injuring 5 people.
The Waigani Tokarara Hohola bus stop is one of the busiest in Port Moresby, with commuters and vendors alike frequenting that area. Today's incident was somewhat an unfortunate one. This eyewitness recalls how it occurred earlier today.
Driver must go out na Bosco drive na kami. Car kam mo so ani plan sa or meri sidan la line kami. Car kam la light na ogata mo la brus na. Pipe la ogata car ki mo kata le. Tupla meria me car roll anta la skin pla tupla na triple man. One plus sidan la upside na.
This is the second time such similar accidents have occurred in that particular spot, where 2 lives have been lost in 2020. Bus drivers and their crews are sometimes inconsiderate of fellow road users and do not abide by and follow road rules. Ignorance by this bus 12 driver and his crew has now critically injured 5 innocent people's lives. According to the Waigani police officers, the driver of this troubled bus has been apprehended and is now in police custody, while his crew has escaped and is still at large. Frequent commuters of this bus stop want NCDC to build a proper bus stop facility there for them and for the Road Traffic Authority and police traffic to regularly check public motor vehicles' condition to see whether they are roadworthy or otherwise. For now, commuters, pedestrians, vendors and motorists alike are encouraged to observe road safety rules and to take care when out and about. Lindy Suharupa, National Emtv News.
Mining company Ramunico has come to the assistance of 2-year-old Hazel Kawai, who needs urgent heart surgery in Port Moresby. The agency in Little Hazel Kawai's condition moved from Ramunico Management Limited in wasting no time in assisting with 5,000 kina cash towards the travel of young Hazel, her mother Leah Wangi, and the medical escort.
Young Hazel was born normal and was admitted for pneumonia when a heart murmur was picked up. Hazel's nature of illness is Down syndrome before being diagnosed with a heart condition. Madang Provincial Health Authority paediatrician and the medical professional who is at the forefront of young Hazel's condition is Dr. Tina Yarong.
She has a patent ductus arteriosus, that's a condition. And they're going to do a duct ligation. Which means that the duct that's in between the two big vessels, that duct is not needed anymore. They're going to tie around it now, close off that passage so blood doesn't travel through it. So that passage is no longer needed.
Hazel's operation was scheduled on the 29th of June. Upon regular consultations with doctors in Port Moresby's General Hospital, Dr. Yaron said Hazel will be operated on by the National Cardiothoracic Surgeons, who have been under training with the Australian doctors of the same field.
So nationally we have a heart screening program for children where the cardiologists or specialists, they travel out to the provinces and they screen patients with heart problem. So we play as a bukimol patient, ready mo, non sakam. Over the last few years, Mipla been missed out the click because of funding, so they didn't come across to Madang. But in 2021, they came across or come in that year. She was one of the lucky ones to be diagnosed that year and had been going for screening. And doctor diagnosed her with a heart problem that's operable. Some heart conditions they cannot be operated on.
Mother Leah Wangi said, "It is my hope that my baby will get through this and we will return home together." Hazel's mother, who's a pay clerk with the Madang Provincial Health Authority, sought financial assurance from a few business houses in Madang after being told of the operation scheduled on Monday the 19th of June.
Thinking plenty gonna na me writing pasikam mayem saliwan plalo Brian Bell me saliwan plalo governors office Ella at Ella Enterprises, but me no na ardi tuna, but me no sim respond back long, me sim respond back Ramunico.
Living up to the theme One Ramunico, One Community, the company management saw it fit to assist such circumstances in ways it can because it is more so investing in the little girl's future, said the Ramunico Corporate Office General Manager, Mr. Charlie Hu.
Maybe it's the little things for the Ramunico, but it's the bigger thing for the children. In the case, her future. So maybe they changing her life and then make the improvement for her life. Okay, so that's what the company is thinking. We try with it. We use our shortcut, make it available the money, but it's not big money, small money. But anyway, we do something for the girls.
Little Hazel travelled to Port Moresby on the 27th of June and she is still awaiting surgery. We'll keep you updated on Little Hazel's story. Rocky Iso, National Emtv News.
The autonomous Bougainville government recently launched the Bougainville Anti-Drug Education and Awareness Campaign in Aita Wakunai district in central Bougainville, which is a renowned place for marijuana cultivation. This initiative is mainly to tackle the issue of drug trafficking and consumption throughout Bougainville.
The illegal trade and consumption of drugs on Bougainville has been of grave concern, and the autonomous Bougainville government is taking this initiative to combat this pressing issue. According to Bougainville's president, Ismail Toroama, the young generation has to be taught the effects and consequences of using these illicit drugs. Toroama said as the region prepares for independence, its population must be healthy and of sound mind and be able to contribute meaningfully towards Bougainville's growth. Present at the launch was Chief Censor of PNG's Censorship Office, Jim Abani, who also supported this initiative. Officials from Bougainville's Department of Law and Justice, including Minister for Police John Bosco Ragu and Chief of Police Francis Tokura, were all present to witness this occasion. Lindy Suharupa, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. A new state-of-the-art agro-industrial center was opened in Kiunga, Western Province on Friday. This vanilla industrial center is the new beginning for the people of Western Province, which will deliver generational economic development opportunities. This achievement is part of the agro-business pillar of the 2018 to 2021 Western Provincial Development Plan.
Local residents in Kiunga town, including the surrounding villages, turned out in numbers to witness the official launching at the Samagos Department of Primary Industries, or DPI. The Awin traditional dancers welcomed the Agriculture Minister, Aye Tambua, and the delegation and expressed their gratitude to all leaders and the development partners for the delivery of Vanilla Industrial Center. Speaking at the event, Western Provincial Administrator Robert Kayun says more work will be done to increase different agricultural activities within the province.
Establishment of Kiunga IC is a milestone to support development and expansion of agriculture-based industries in Western Province, starting with vanilla, and there will be other high-value cash crops as identified and designed in the West Agro Master Plan.
Member for North Fly, James Donald, has urged people to be involved in vanilla farming that will generate income for all.
You got ground, you planting stuff. Go to place, planting vanilla, planting rice, planting all this or something. I'm not just dreaming and talking. Market stopping is here.
He says people in North Fly and Western Province as a whole should not depend on Oktedi mine, but agriculture is a way forward for all. The Minister for Agriculture, Aye Tambua, who attended the event, thanked all leaders for establishing such industrial center, adding people should continue to plow their land for mass production. He added that the national government is now focusing more on the agriculture sector within the country so that people in respective provinces can sustain their lives.
Policy block government now is 2 plus something. One, I'm block downstream processing. 2, like increasing production of the commodity or the agriculture products inside Papua New Guinea.
The Fly Vanilla project, completed in June 2023, include a nursery demonstration plot, 14 greenhouses at an area of 2 hectares, all equipped with a total of approximately 17,000 vine growing on the site. Natasha Ovoy, National Emtv News.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Agriculture, Aye Tambua, while thanking the Oktedi Mining for supporting this project with the funding of 50 million kina, along with other development partners who have worked together for change within the province. He says the Agro-Industrial Center project is a first of its kind in PNG.
In Chalo Papua New Guinea, no got kind project or some stuff. Now I'm people first line location. People mama sama so this la. And big plus something through big plus project. Instead of Papua New Guinea, no got one mining company or no got one oil and gas companies are putting 40 or 50 million in agriculture and first time and more put him na diplomas paiti man lo dislato.
The president of National Airlines Employees Association, Joe Mondo Kaspar, said accessing social justice in industrial relations practices within the aviation industry is a matter of paramount importance. He said they can create a more equitable and justice aviation sector if the employers, policymakers, and the society as a whole protect workers' rights with their fair wages, embracing diversity and promoting sustainability in the workplace.
President Kaspar says industrial relations are the dynamic between employees and employers that plays a vital role in shaping the aviation industry's future. It is imperative that they strive for fairness, dignity, and equality in workplace, and ensuring the rights and well-being of the aviation workers are upheld.
Social justice in the aviation industry entails the recognition and protection of workers' rights. It is essential to establish mechanisms that safeguard employees against the exploitation, discrimination, and unsafe working conditions. Aviation workers face unique challenges, including long hours, irregular schedules, and demanding environments. By promoting collective bargaining and ensuring robust labor laws, we can create an environment that fosters mutual respect and protect the well-being of those who keep our industry soaring.
He says when addressing the issues that affects not only the aviation industry but also the society, industrial division practices the efficient sector and the needs for social justice in the aviation industry has been the long symbol of progress.
While technological advancement and business strategies take center stage, we must not overlook the importance of social justice within this relationship.
The Industrial Registrar Ellen Saleao calls on all the unions to follow those processes that they have agreed to in their industrial agreements. As the regulator of those agreements, she said to work with them and resolve their disputes.
So have the court there to also help us if we have stepped out of line. So that's one mechanism that is available to us to seek redress. Otherwise, a bipartite agreement and a resolution of your industrial grievances is already available in your industrial agreements.
Esther Gane, National Emtv News.
19 officials from government and non-government organizations were awarded certificates for actively participating in a 6 weeks online dedicated monitoring program held from April to June this year. The DPM aimed to train government officials across different sectors on the development of project concept notes and funding proposals to access international climate finance through the Green Climate Fund mechanism to fund Papua New Guinea's climate actions.
The participants were involved in a 5-week-long Green Growth Fellowship Program, or GGFP, held within the last 2 months. The GGFP aimed at providing support to Climate Change and Development Authority, or CCDA, and relevant national and provincial government staff in providing green growth policy advisory support, including low-carbon growth and sustainable development advice. Acting Managing Director of CCDA, William Lakain, congratulated the participants and described both programs as critical for broadening their knowledge and skills in developing climate finance projects and green growth policy intervention towards a low-carbon growth in Papua New Guinea. Mr. Lakain said these 2 programs are very important and should be supported into the future as it will greatly improve the knowledge and skills of government officials on key areas such as developing project concept notes and providing policy advisory support on low-carbon growth and sustainable development. The participants were also the first to receive their certificates under the tripartite Memorandum of Understanding between Global Green Growth Institute, Climate Change and Development Authority, with support from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and the 3 universities, the University of PNG, University of Technology, and the University of Natural Resource and Environment, to run the programs.
Acting Managing Director of CCDA also thanked the Australian High Commission in accommodating this program through funding support under the PNG Australia Climate Change Partnership. Mr. Lakain further acknowledged the University of Papua New Guinea for running these important programs. Esther Gane, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. Moving to overseas news now. There's been more unrest across France just hours after hundreds gathered in Paris to farewell the French-Algerian teenager whose death sparked unrest.
Tens of thousands of officers, including specialist police, have been deployed to cities across France. The situation appears calmer after 4 days of violent protests. Sporadic clashes have taken place, including in Marseille, where police fired tear gas on protesters as street battles unfolded. The French president has been forced to cancel a state trip to Germany to deal with a crisis. Europe correspondent Isabella Higgins was there as police prepared for another night of demonstrations.
Now, French police are facing another night of disorder and unrest. Here at the Arc de Triomphe, there are police officers lining the street of the Champs-Élysées. We've seen officers here stop and search young people. It's a tense mood down here tonight. It's said that up to 45,000 police officers have been deployed across the country. Now, that includes specialist tactical response officers. Many of them have been sent to the southern port city of Marseille. Now, it's there that some of the most violent scenes have erupted over the last 5 days. Now, how did we get here and how did all of this start? Well, a 17-year-old boy was shot dead by police in a Paris suburb when he failed to stop for a traffic check. From that, there was an uproar of anger and upset about racial prejudice in this country. Now, that teenager was of Algerian descent. He was laid to rest at a funeral here in Paris today. There was a ban on those who attended taking photos, using social media. The news media was also told to stay away from this event.
Ukraine's ambassador has invited Foreign Minister Penny Wong to visit the country's capital, Kyiv, to gain a fresh perspective on the war.
The country has been campaigning for Australia to send its Hawkeye armoured vehicles to support the war effort. Ambassador Vasyl Miroshnichenko says it would be good for Senator Wong to see the city with her own eyes.
When you visit, it gives you a different angle. It gives you a bit of hands-on, and that gives you, I mean, I've seen it with your Prime Minister. I was there on that trip, and we were in Irpin, we were in Bucha. We were able to hear those stories which were out there shared with people being under the Russian occupation.
Air travellers along the country's east coast are facing another day of flight cancellations at Sydney Airport. Around 30 flights have been cancelled.
Things aren't as hectic here as they were on Friday and Saturday when we saw over 130 flights cancelled. However, there are still delays. Over the previous 2 days, there were strong winds that were grounding flights. Now, although the weather has cleared today, there are knock-on effects from those previous 2 days that are continuing to cause cancellation and delays. And we also have an ongoing issue with crew shortages for Jetstar and Qantas. Now, in total, we have about 29 departure and arrival flights here in Sydney cancelled so far. I spoke to some of the affected passengers here earlier today.
Flight was meant to be at 9 o'clock, and then so I got here, and actually I got a text at 4 a.m. saying it was cancelled, and I still came here anyway because I couldn't really contact anyone. So I got here, and they're like, yeah, now your new flight's now at 12 o'clock. So I've just been waiting around here for freaking 6 hours or so.
Agriculture ministers from around the world will descend on Rome this week for the 43rd United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization Conference.
we are at a very critical time for the negotiations between Australia and the EU for a free trade agreement. Obviously, this effort is being led by Trade Minister Don Farrell, but I've been working very closely with him to try to make clear to the EU what Australia needs in order to be able to sign up to this deal. We've been very clear that we want to do a deal with the EU. We think that there's real benefits for it in it for both Australia and the EU. But we do need to see the EU's offer to Australia in terms of agricultural imports to be much higher than what they've got on the table at the moment. So it has been a really valuable opportunity while I've been here to meet with the EU Agriculture Commissioner and a number of European agriculture ministers to make that point so that they're in no doubt about what Australia needs in order to sign up to this deal. Across a range of different agricultural commodities, beef, sheep meat, sugar, dairy products and a range of others, the offer that the EU is making to Australia is just not good enough. What we've tried to do all along is come with a reasonable approach that's modelled on what the EU has agreed to with other countries. So we don't think that we're asking for anything unreasonable, but unfortunately the EU hasn't been prepared to come to the party at the moment. But of course, the only way you get to change people's minds and influence them is by being here on the ground, meeting with them. And we remain hopeful that we can still get to the point of having a deal, but we're still a fair way off that at the moment. And I think, if anything, it's been beneficial to be here, because what I've found is that a lot of the European agriculture ministers were of the view that the deal was nearly done and that Australia was quite happy with what was being offered. So it's obviously been very useful to make clear that that's not the case.
An investigation has been launched into a massive road crash in western Kenya,
which has claimed the lives of 52 people, including 2 children. A truck carrying a shipping container veered out of control and rammed into pedestrians and other vehicles at a market about 200 kilometres northwest of Nairobi. Rescuers are racing to clear the debris, with fears more people are still trapped in the wreckage.
You're watching National Emtv News. Stay with us after the break. Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Oro Athletics is fully satisfied with the overall performance of their athletes in the recent PNG Air Junior Athletics Championships. According to the president of Oro Athletics, this exceptional performance will greatly boost others back in the province to give up illegal activities and excel in athletics or other sporting codes.
A proud Oro Athletics president, Colin Otoha, expressed his gratitude to the coaching staff for grooming these youngsters in athletics. A total of 17 gold, 13 silver and 15 bronze were won by the Under-20 All-Division Oro Athletics team in the recent Junior Athletics Championships in Port Moresby. Most of these junior athletes are first-timers into the nation's capital, however, have performed exceptionally well. With that, Otoha said a well-deserved reception will be hosted for the team when they return.
The parents are preparing, especially at Horita Village. We are going to extend the invitation to the Hanjiri parents, so they'll come in, and then we'll all take the children. Just welcome to the children that they have really participated.
Otoha added that with the regular consumption of illegal homebrew back in the province, they hope this win will further encourage youths in Oro to refrain from such illegal habits and activities and turn to sports. Oro Athletics team continue to strive in their quest to be champions in athletics and are hoping their talents will get recognition overseas. For now, training continues when they return. Lindy Suharupa, Trukai Sports.
The women's cricket PNG's T20 smash got underway at the Amini Park today. For 2 teams in the women's division, their preparations for the tournament is all about ensuring the young players develop and making sure combinations work together.
Cricket PNG's T20 Smash Women's Round Robin started today with the Black Bass taking on the Cassowaries, and as the two teams played out their match, we caught up with the other two captains that are taking part in the T20 Smash competition, beginning with the Mariners captain Brenda Tao, who spoke on the preparations of her team.
Yeah, mostly to learn. To learn together as a team on what we can do and what we can work on as a team. Of course, all teams, they want to win, and we're looking forward to the games. Like I said earlier, it's going to be a lot of challenge for us, but as individuals and as a team, it's really gonna push us to do our best, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Tao stated that development of the younger players is key for the Mariners this year, with many players coming from outside the nation's capital.
Well, actually, there's a lot of girls that are coming in for this tournament, and of course there are some of the girls that actually came from other provinces, so it's going to be a really good way for us to get along and get to see how they as individuals, and it's going to be a challenge for us also, but yeah, as we go along with this tournament, we're going to learn a lot from them, and yeah, same as us, same as them, they're going to learn from us also, so it's going to be a great tournament.
Meanwhile, for the Mudmen, there is no room for complacency this year, according to Captain Tanya Ruma.
For the Mudmen, the girls, I think my team is really good. We prepared for this tournament, and we're just looking forward for it. Our goal is to, the upcoming ones, the younger ones, we need to put them in the right path and learn as much they can, so that's our goal.
The T20 Smash will run from today till Friday, and tomorrow the men's division will take to the pitch in this exciting shortened format of the game of cricket. Rocky Iso, Trukai Sports.
In netball, the mixed and men's netball tournament are well into round 3 of competition. PNG Mixed and Men's Netball Association Junior President Micah Vaira said this year saw more male participants since its inception in 2016.
Expressing that at the moment the tournament has no age division but is very competitive despite, the junior president gave an update as to where the tournament is at.
We're into round 2 now of the Papua New Guinea Mixed and Men's Netball Association competition. We had 3 weeks of trials, so that's gone now. So last week we had our round 1 competition. We're into the second week now. So the rounds, we only have 1 round, so it's a shorter competition now.
A highlight for this year, Vaira emphasized on, is the increase in male participation in the sport as opposed to the years the tournament was hosted. Out of 32 teams in total that have registered for the competition, 11 are men's team.
When we restarted the competition, we thought we would, be lucky to get 20, but we've got, as I said, almost about 32 teams now. So the interest is still there, which is good. And the interest amongst men has been great because this season alone, we've got 11 men's team, and that's the biggest we've had since our inception back in 2016. So the interest among men is there, and so we're looking forward to what the future holds for us.
Vaira concluded that the tournament came about with a vision to give men an opportunity to play netball as a sport. Natasha Ovoy, Trukai Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues with more stories after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Moving to overseas sports now. The Australian men's cricket team is in a strong position to win the second Ashes Test against England, heading into the final day series.
The Australian men's cricket team is in a strong position to win the second Ashes Test against England, heading into the all-important final day. England is 4 for 114 in its second innings, requiring another 257 runs to win and level the series. Mitchell Starc and captain Pat Cummins have 2 wickets each. Earlier, Australia made 279 in its second innings, setting England a target of 371. Ben Duckett is unbeaten on 50 after surviving this controversial no-catch decision, while captain Ben Stokes is also not out on 29.
Meanwhile, the Australian women's team have won a thrilling T20 clash in the Women's Ashes series against England.
The hosts posted a total of 7 for 153 after opener Sophia Dunkley scored 56 off just 49 balls. In reply, Beth Mooney anchored the chase with an unbeaten 61 as Australia lost 4 wickets for 23 in the dying stages. That 4-wicket loss means England must win all 5 remaining matches in the series to win back the Ashes.
In netball, the New South Wales Swifts have reached their 3rd Super Netball Grand Final in just 5 seasons after their 1-point win over the West Coast Fever yesterday.
The Swifts got there in style thanks to a nail-biting 1-point win over the West Coast Fever in the preliminary final. Swifts teenager Sophie Fawns was the match winner, scoring the last goal 3 seconds from the end to give her team a 65-64 triumph against the defending champions, to the delight of nearly 10,000 home fans in Sydney. The Swifts now have the chance to claim the club's 8th Super Netball title when they face the Adelaide Thunderbirds in next Saturday night's decider in Melbourne.
In NRL, the North Queensland Cowboys recorded their biggest winning margin in the NRL era when they defeated the West Tigers by 70 points to 0 last night.
The North Queensland Cowboys recorded the biggest winning margin in the NRL era and the 3rd biggest of all time by thrashing the West Tigers 74 points to 0 in Townsville. The Cowboys dominated the match, scoring 13 tries with Murray Taulagi grabbing a hat-trick. Elsewhere, Selwyn Cobbo scored a hat-trick of his own as the Brisbane Broncos beat the Dolphins 24 points to 16 at the Gabba. Earlier, the Raiders beat the Titans 26 points to 22.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby mostly fine, Daru partly cloudy, Kerema partly cloudy with few evening drizzles, Alatau and Popondetta partly cloudy with possible showers. In the Mamase region, Ley, cloudy periods with few evening showers. Medang, partly cloudy with possible brief showers. Wewak and Banimo, cloudy periods with few showers. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, partly cloudy. Kavieng, mostly fine. Kokopo and Rabaul, partly cloudy with chances of few showers. Kimbe, cloudy periods. Buka, cloudy with some rain showers and possible thunderstorm. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, few evening showers, then morning fog. Goroka and Kundiawa, few evening showers, then morning fog. Mendi and Wabeg, brief evening showers, then morning fog. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border to Daru, to Kiwai Islands, to Kerema, to Port Moresby, to Hood Point, to Samurai Islands, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Samurai Island to eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, to Cape Vogel, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters north of Cape Vogel to Ewan Gulf, to Finschhafen, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Viti's Dampier Straits to CSC and Long Islands, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Long Island to Medang, to Bogia to Wewak, to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of East New Britain to New Ireland, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of West New Britain and Bougainville, seas 2 to 3 meters. Looking at the ocean forecast, Coral Sea sees rough east to southeast winds of 25 to 33 knots. Solomon Sea sees moderate to rough southeast winds of 20 to 33 knots. Bismarck Sea sees moderate becoming rough towards the southeast sector, southeast winds of 15 to 20 knots. And Pacific Ocean sees light southeast to southwest winds of 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Sunday, the 2nd of July 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.